Coming up on Network Africa, judges in Zimbabwe begin the hearing on a challenge to the results of last month's presidential election. Uganda's Bobby Wine hires an international lawyer to defend him on charges of the illegal possession of firearms and ammunition. And authorities in DR Congo approve the use of 4 experimental Ebola treatments. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Teniola Shobowale. We begin in Zimbabwe, where a hearing to the legal challenge from the opposition MDC alliance to President Emmerson Mnangagwa's election victory has begun. Lawyers of the Constitutional Court presented their arguments today. The president won by just more than 30,000 votes to avoid a runoff election, but the opposition has accused the ruling ZANU-PF party of rigging July's poll, which was the first since the ousting of former President Robert Mugabe last year. President Mnangagwa has urged the courts to throw out the opposition appeal, which has already caused the postponement of his inauguration. The court is due to make a decision by Friday whether 9 judges could throw the case out, declare a new winner, or order a fresh election within 60 days.
I'm hoping they will go through the evidence as necessary and give a what's just outcome, probably, hoping in favor of Chamisa, maybe.
Meanwhile, war veterans in Zimbabwe are demanding that the main international airport remove former President Robert Mugabe from its name. The airport was renamed from Harare International Airport to Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport last year, a few weeks before Mr. Mugabe resigned as president following a military takeover. Representative of the Zimbabwe National Liberation War Veterans Association, Victor Matama Danda, says a petition would be handed over to President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who took over as president and won a disputed election last month. He said the war veterans would march to the airport on Wednesday to demand the removal of what he describes as Mr. Mugabe's in quote, dirty name, and for other heroes' names to be considered instead. The war veterans are an influential group within Zimbabwe's ruling ZANU-PF party. Let's get more on this story from the Zimbabwean journalist Nigel Yamochumbu. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Yes, it's my pleasure.
What's the latest on the court hearing into the legal challenge from the MDC?
Well, the court case is still ongoing. Actually, right now, as I speak to you, the court had adjourned. It has just restarted. There are 3 key segments that the court went through today. The first, the arguments around whether the respondents that had, the presidential candidates that had responded in favor of the applicant, that is Nelson Chamisa's a petition in support of it, and the Supreme Court, the Constitutional Court, made an immediate ruling that they should not, the papers that they submitted should not stand in court. Secondly, the applicant, Tabani Mpofu, who is the lead counsel of Nelson Chamisa's lawyers, presented his submission before the Constitutional Court, before Advocate Louis Uriri, representing President Emmerson Mnangagwa, also just responded. So right now, as I speak to you, the court has started hearing submissions from the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission legal representatives.
So we understand that thousands of people were following the proceedings live on TV. What are the expectations of most Zimbabweans from this hearing?
Well, pretty much the expectations are varied and are very polarized, as was expected. With, on one hand, those supporting President Emmerson Mnangagwa expecting the court to uphold the result, with those supporting Nelson Chamisa expecting the court to at least order a rerun as is obtained in the court papers that he has submitted. But overall, generally, more objectively, we expect the rule of law to prevail. We expect the Constitutional Court to present a sound judgment that will not only end the impasse between President Mnangagwa and his main rival, Nelson Chamisa, but that will set the ground and tone for the holding of free, credible, fair elections in Zimbabwe. The court, we expect that overall it sets the tone for democracy in Zimbabwe, and that at the end of the day, whatever it rules is something that will make Zimbabweans proud, is something that will be referenced within other countries as something that is democratic and progressive.
So taking a look at history and past challenges to election results, how high is the MDC's chances of success in overturning the result?
Well, it being a matter that is still within the courts, it may seem substitute if I'm to offer my opinion as to their chances. But what I would say is definitely this has been an international case. The world is watching. Everyone is really interested in seeing how the courts are going to handle the matter. So that on its own will ensure that whatever judgment the judges will pass, it will be something that will really be credible, something that will really show that indeed the judiciary is independent, the judiciary is really moving in so far as promoting and upholding our constitution and indeed democracy in general.
Okay, so finally, we understand that war veterans in Zimbabwe are demanding that the main international airport remove Robert Mugabe from its name. Tell us more about that.
Well, the pretext, the context behind their anger with former President Robert Mugabe is that, number one, he came out in support of Nelson Chamisa. Number two, he came out saying that the ZANU-PF government is not democratic. He came out virtually castigating them for not treating himself well and for having carried out and conducted a military coup, something which flies in the face of what the Emmerson Mnangagwa-led administration is vehemently against. And as such, the thinking that they rename the international airport, the main international airport in the country, in Harare, is because they feel he has betrayed the struggle, he has betrayed the values of the liberation struggle, which were by and large values of democracy, one man, one vote, and so on. But it is not really based on that principle. It is pretty much around the politics of former President Robert Mugabe having thrown his weight behind Nelson Chamisa. It is because the supporters of former President Robert Mugabe that are still contesting in ZANU-PF supported the ascendance of Chamisa against Mnangagwa, and that has really angered ZANU-PF. It has angered all veterans.
Thank you so much, Nigel Nyamatumbu, a Zimbabwean journalist, for keeping us updated on that.
Pleasure.